Stop creating content for no one to see it or read it or watch it. When you are creating a Pinterest marketing strategy, part of the reason you're doing that is so people actually see and view your content. They consume it and then they get into your world. But if you're creating Pinterest images just to create Pinterest images, or you are creating content at the time that the trend is happening, then you're losing out on valuable traffic and possibly quite a bit of income. So today's video is all about using Pinterest trends in your business to craft a strategic content marketing plan so you aren't creating content at the last minute, nor are you creating Pinterest images that no one ever sees. So if that is something you need in your business, stick around because this video is for you. And hello, I'm Heather Ferris, owner, operator of Heather Ferris & Co. I run a Pinterest marketing agency and education company and this YouTube channel. So if you're new here, howdy, I'm Heather. If you're not new here, welcome back. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. I publish weekly videos every Monday all about Pinterest marketing and how you can grow your business using Pinterest. So why don't we dive right into today's topic? Now, I don't have a sticky note, but I do have a piece of paper. Let's just dive right in. Using Pinterest trends is vital to your success on Pinterest. They released this tool, they gave us this tool, and so many people do not take advantage of it or use it. They just think it's some weird tool that you can look at for keywords. Well, it's so much more than that. In fact, there are two mistakes that people make when crafting their content in a content marketing plan when it comes to Pinterest. And mistake number one is not utilizing Pinterest trends in your favor. When you are creating content, Pinterest and pinners, they are future focused, meaning that they are on the platform looking for things that are going to happen in the future, not things that have already happened in the past. That's Facebook and Instagram. That's social media. This is Pinterest. This is future focused. So they are planning now for 45 to 90 days out. Mistake number two, which perhaps should be mistake number one, is really pinning without a plan. You don't have a plan in your business. You don't have a content plan. You're not creating content strategically. You're just creating content because you feel like it and because you think that's what your audience wants, when in reality, it's not. Chances are they already needed that content 30 to 45 days ago, if not longer. So let's dive into Pinterest trends and how you can use them in your business. Now, Pinterest users, like I said before, are future focused. They are pinning and planning now for what's to come. So I'm going to show you some examples in the computer and I will dive into those in detail, but I want to just talk about them just briefly before I actually hop into today's tutorial. So pinners are pinning in advance because they plan. So think about this from the standpoint of like a big box store. They're already putting out Halloween stuff and it's not even Halloween. They are going to be putting out Christmas stuff soon, and Thanksgiving is probably already hitting the stores. They do that. These big box retailers do that. The big companies that are putting the products in the stores do that because they know that people are going to be planning and purchasing that in advance. You have to think about your users from their standpoint. How are they living their lives? Chances are most of your audience are budgeting. They live on a budget. They have a paycheck that's coming every 2 weeks. So they can't just like come and do the thing right now. They can't just buy the thing right now. They're planning in advance. They're planning out home decor. They're planning out nursery decor, holiday parties, things like that. When you are thinking about this, make sure you're thinking about your user from their point of view. Don't forget about them and what they are interacting with on the platform. This all comes back to user intent and how you can actually show up for your user at whatever point of the journey that they're in. More on that in another video. Now, you're going to use Pinterest trends to look at when the content is actually rising and falling. You're not just using Pinterest trends as a keyword tool. In fact, I would strongly recommend you use it for a keyword tool and to figure out when content is going to be popular or not. Perhaps it's even a specific keyword is popular at one time of the year and not during another type of, a different keyword of the same one is popular a different time of the year. For example, some of your users, depending on where they live, may refer to a slow cooker as a crock pot and vice versa. So you want to make sure you're using those terms appropriately when they're popular on the platform. Since Pinterest users are planners, I want to just go ahead, we're going to dive into the computer and I'm going to show you exactly how you're going to use the Trends tool, and then we will send you out into the world so you are better prepared for creating and planning your content in advance. Now, what I would suggest is getting a calendar. I like to print out these calendars like this on just paper. This is my Instagram schedule, but I like to print out a calendar on paper. And what I like to do is I print out 3 of them at a time. I pencil in all of the dates that are coming up. So right now I'm looking forward to the last quarter of the year. We have Black Friday, we have Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, all coming up. Depending on your audience, you may have a Jewish audience. There's a ton of holidays for the Jewish community coming up, as well as other types of people that have different types of holidays at the end of the year. So what I like to do is print out 1 quarter of calendars at a time and then start penciling in those big trends that are going to be happening. The platform is going to shift to those trends when they happen, and you need to be prepared. So right now, if you're not already creating Christmas and Thanksgiving content, you're probably going to be too late by the time you publish it, which means you need to be looking forward right now to the new year. This is October of 2020 when I'm filming this, and we are about halfway through the month. So a lot of people are actually already creating New Year's content and winter type content, winter fashion, winter skincare, health and fitness for when it's too cold outside, things like that. So make sure you're thinking in advance what your people are going to be searching for before they actually get to that thing, because they're planning for it now. Now, I've said that a whole lot of times, but let's dive into the computer and I'm going to show you some examples. Okay, so I have a couple examples for Pinterest trends that I want to show you so you know how to use the tool, but you also understand what to look for when it comes to understanding whether the content is on trend or off. So from your business hub on Pinterest, you're going to drop down the analytics tab and click trends. From here, you're going to search for whatever you're searching for. You'll notice right here on the home screen are some they've already told you what's popular and spiking right now on the platform. And down below, they'll show you this week's most popular Pinterest trends and what's trending across their most popular categories on the platform. Now, what I want to do is just hop into a couple pre-designated examples that I have for us today. And the first one that I want to show you is Christmas, because this is the most drastic one, I think, on the platform. You can see all of these look the same. Now let's just click on Christmas and you can see that it starts to rise the end of October. That's when people really start searching for it. And then it drops off as soon as Christmas is over. It's done, like right here. December 28th, it really starts to take a dive right here around that first week of Christmas, and even right before Christmas, the week before. And then from there, it just takes this death fall all the way over. And then you can see over here, it starts to pick up around summer until it really starts to peak right here in October. Now, this last year in April to May timeframe is actually when it started peaking in 2020. So when COVID hit, when the quarantine happened, people actually started planning for Christmas a lot sooner. Now, you'll see this for a lot of the things that you're going to search for on the platform. So typically for Christmas, if you're planning 30 to 45 days in advance, that's going to put you in the middle of fall, like October timeframe, actually creating content for Christmas. I would suggest backing it up even further than that and start creating it around like July. Literally do a Christmas in July thing. People are used to doing that anyways. They're used to seeing Christmas in July. So just start creating Christmas content in the middle of the summer. That way it has plenty of time to brew like a fine wine on the platform and people actually click on it and engage with it when it's happening, like when Christmas comes, because that's when they're looking for it, is before. So I have another search term that I wanted to search for. I wanted to show you grilling. So I was doing some research for this video and I wanted to come up with a couple examples that were modest, to say the least. I didn't want to just show you the huge spike and decrease with Christmas. I wanted to show you what it looks like year round. So you can see that grilling in this fall time frame into winter is pretty low. So you can see that this really starts to spike between February to March. And then we have a little bit of a dive, and then it really starts to pick up over the summer, the spring into summer. And then once summer starts, it starts declining over the summertime, because in summer people are already starting to plan for fall. And that's where I wanted to bring in my next search term, which is crock pot. Now when you put these two together on the same line, the blue is grilling, the green is crock pot. You can see the crock pot is high in the fall and the winter, and then it starts to decrease as spring comes along. It's coming down, grilling is coming up. They meet in the middle right here around May, and then crock pot really starts to pick up when grilling starts to go down. So you can see how that is, like, you want to be creating grilling content in the fall and winter months before it actually happens, and the opposite for crock pot. So if you're a food blogger, your family's going to be very confused and eating like pot roast and crock pot meals when it's hot outside, and I'm so sorry for that, but that is how it works. So let's look at one other, and this was something I brought up earlier in the video about slow cooker versus crock pot. You can see the difference in the line here. Like, it follows a very similar path as crock pot, but there's not as many searches compared to crock pot. So you have to really understand your audience and know the words that they're looking for. That way you can show up for them. Now, what I would suggest is using both variations of that word. I do that for all of my food bloggers. Some of them use the word slow cooker, typically my northern folks. And then the southern folks use the word crock pot. It's how I grew up, and never called it a slow cooker when I was growing up, and I grew up in the South. I always called it a crock pot. Now, this is just to show you how people are actually using the platform and when they're using it. Now, you're going to use this to your advantage to plan and publish your content in the months leading up to the trend happening. So in these months right here, you're planning and prepping for these months right here, okay? Pinners are future focused. They're planning, so make sure that you're doing that as well. Now, really quick, because I want you to see the keywords. So a lot of people use this as a keyword research tool. The keywords that they're using are these right here. These terms are too broad, but flank steak recipes, that's a more detailed keyword. Easy crock pot recipes, slow cooker recipes, use these words right here as searched or as keyword search terms in your descriptions and text overlays. And then if all else fails and you're interested in seeing what's ranking really high in a particular search term, click on the box down below and it will take you to the grilling search term, and you can see these boxes at the top. As long as they're still on your profile, they are taking a lot of these away because they're moving towards a shopping platform. But nonetheless, they are here for you in this time, at least. And you just take note of the pins on the top and see what they are using for their search terms. So that's it. That's how you use Pinterest trends. So I hope that made a lot of sense for you, and it brings it full picture. Just using Pinterest trends tool to not only see when content is popular and not popular, but also to find those keywords and use it as a keyword search tool as well. I really like using trends in this way. I also use it when I'm planning my ad campaigns for clients, and just as an overall tool to gauge popularity on the platform. It's just like Google Trends, except it's a built-in Pinterest tool, and I love it. So I hope that you utilize it in this way for strategic content planning. That way you're not just hitting publish on the day that the trend is happening on Christmas Day or whatever. You're doing it in advance. 30 to 45 days at a minimum is not too much to ask. So if you liked this week's video, please hit that like button. Click the subscribe button if you're new here and you haven't done so already. And if you're interested in learning more about SEO and how to use SEO with the Pinterest platform in your Pinterest strategy, make sure you click the video over here and go ahead and watch this week's or last week's YouTube video all about Pinterest SEO. And that's it for this week. See you later.